working here on the new kick-ass glute machine. We decided that's just gonna be this name because we don't know. It's just gonna be what we call it. Everybody's like, dude, that fucking kick-ass. I'm like, yeah, and it's like a kickback. It's kick-ass. You never know what you can do. You find a solid trade, you can do anything you want with it. I mean, shit, I got parts in space. When I did some contract stuff for SpaceX back in the day when they were still at the Hawthorne campus over there in North LA. Worked for the Department of Energy, travel, doing piping, high pressure steam, thick wall aluminum, super duplex, things like that, working in like the energy sector. I enjoy it, and I get to build my machines for my gym. That's sweet. So anyway, I guess what it comes down to, like how I started this, it's been about almost 2 years since I started building the war machines. This will be number 13, and so getting it sorted out. There we go, right there. Gyroscopic pull down that there is.
That's the Mantis one, right?
Yeah, and so by doing that, like it forces your body to take on like the balancing from the pull of the motion. So it takes a lot of your arm and grip out of it to where you're just having to guide it with like your shoulder blade and elbow.
Cool.
And like you can feel it a lot more because you can kind of control it. So if you want to force like your chest out and go like wider for the contraction.
Did you do the pullover too?
Yeah, I did the pullovers. That's a custom one. Actually, they're all custom. Technically, I design and fabricate them myself right there. Yeah, I used to have a much bigger shop, but I traded it for a bigger gym. Yeah. So, yeah, with that being said, started this little project, a couple years ago, invention through necessity, or necessity through invention. Yeah, invention through necessity. So I invented something I needed. And just knowing how everything works, like you've probably heard before, stuff like that, like getting to where I needed to have a machine and like in the beginning, like, oh, here's my magnet. Buying a $4,000 machine isn't super practical for a little nobody welder running a small shop in San Diego, you know what I mean? Especially at the beginning of the pandemic. And so it was kind of tricky. There, Miguel, that looks straight, yeah? Sick. Nice, that looks good right there. I like that line. Okay, I'm gonna tighten it down. Getting all this put together because I was doing it like out of my back pocket, and all the gyms shut down, so I'm like, fuck, I'll just build my own goddamn. I also, a lifetime ago, when I was getting out of the military, I went to the University of Utah after I did my adult diploma because I joined the military at 16 with a GED and adult diploma. I think it'd be considered now Utah Valley University, but it used to just be a smaller school. And then I went to the University of Utah after that. And so that's how I got started, and I essentially really liked fitness always, as a part of what I like to do interest-wise. I scored over a 300 plus extended on my physical in the military, got multiple general coins from marksmanship, fitness, things like that took me around the world. And so I had graduated via science and physiology, major in performance nutrition and all that, and that helped set me on my path. But as you can imagine, after the housing crisis, 2008, 2010, there wasn't exactly a lot of personal training jobs paying a lot of money, so I got into the trades, like any sane person would. And without getting too much into it, the documentary about my father and my life, I came from a varied background and a highly disturbing childhood, which the military took full advantage of. From watching a family, a single mom, try to raise kids on nothing, and then spending summers with my soon-to-be billionaire father, who was a complete nutcase, from a multi-level marketing tycoon from Young Living Essential Oils. Yeah, my last name used to be Young. It's a real thing. So with that being said, it was always super crazy. Just had a crazy background. I mean, I drove my first dump truck on a job site when I was 13 or 14 years old. I've always been handy, necessary, stuff like that. Check it out, dude. Woo! See the wheel? That's what's up. Cool, so we're on our way. We're almost there. Okay. Making progress. So now, what I'm gonna do is get these 1 inch and the other one set up for the second so we can get this lift going, get the mechanism up and running so this thing can be finished. So that's what we're looking for right now. So I believe this is the 1 inch. Yes, perfect. I had the need of gathering a lot of skills from a very young age. I think I had my first full-time summer job when I was 9. Believe it or not, it sounds crazy, like old 1940s parents talking about going to school 2 miles in snow both ways and shit. I was never treated like a son, I was treated like an employee. And so I built my first post fence, mind you, I'm gonna say this again, post fence out of trees by cutting trees down, going in the forest with 2 Percheron draft horses at 9 years old, cutting trees down, saddling up and tackling up the horses, the draft horses in pairs, and dragging logs in bundles of like 6 to 8, maybe 10 at a time that I could hook onto, and dragging him down the hill, cutting him into 10-foot poles, and putting him in 5 barrels of crude used oil, and that would allow them to sustain in the dirt. So before concrete and stuff out in the middle of nowhere, they wouldn't just disintegrate over time. They'd last like years. So that's what I was taught, and that's what I was tasked with. And then I spent another week drilling over 140 holes for what was to become I think it was like a 3/4 mile or a 1/4 mile fence with long. So the treetops became the rails, posts were the bases of, these like, I'd say junior trees. They're junior pines, like not super big out in North Idaho, my dad's first herb farm. And then I would drop them in, and with no cement, there's a way to like tamp. I don't know what the whole thing was, but for some reason, I was forced to learn how to do this as if I was in like 1920. I think, Miguel, that's gonna be fucking spot on right there, my guy. So with the bearing, it should sit just like that. Boom. Okay. So for some fucked up reason, that was my life when I was 9 years old. And it seemed fun, like, oh, I'm gonna pay you for the summer. Guess how much I made in 3 months? Oh, like 2.5 months. I think it was like 9 or 10 weeks. I got back home and my dad wrote me a check and made up payroll tax, workers' compensation, state tax, social security. He made it up and hand wrote me a fucking like check stub as if I was an employee at 9 years old, and then sent a check and mailed it to my mom's house because they were separated obviously at the time. And I made an entire summer after doing all that work, and I'll get into it, tamping all the posts for the next month with a rock bar and a shovel, not using concrete. And unbelievable. And then using 9-inch twisted nails like they would on old post fences, like back in like cowboy days, crazy shit. I got a check for $147.30. I'll never forget, for the entire summer. I definitely ended up learning, and by surviving, learned a bunch of things. And I'll give it to him as he taught me how to work. So it is what it is. You take the good with the bad. Everybody would scream, child abuse and all that these days and all kinds of stuff. But I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't go through it. You know what I mean? So, all right, I'm gonna drill some holes. I believe. Make sure people don't touch my fucking toolbox. Just in case. Safest gym in America. And 1 inch. So, this is the stuff I need. Come over here, so see what we get out of it. Okay. And this is the size of the holes we need to make. Oh, this is only the 3rd day. Yeah, it's only 3. Today's Friday. Well, technically, because we started in an afternoon, we only put like a couple hours into it on Tuesday, and then Wednesday, and then Thursday I can only work till noon. So it's like our 3rd day. I have to dress this up so it fits. Let me grab this, and I'll show you. Pretty easy. Just gotta shape it because everything is so machined. Like 1-inch bores, they're never They're never perfect from the mill. Should go through there. Might have to drop a section in here. Exactly. You just always have to figure stuff out. Like I'd have to cut this across and allow it to go flat to remove it. Or I just go to the side. And you stick it in the hole. Now all I need to do is I'm gonna tap in this. I'm gonna tack weld it in. I'll show you. There's a shim that goes in there. And you tack weld it so it doesn't turn without the bearing. Super tiny. The most important piece. Always something stupid, right? Gotta shape it down, of course. If it wasn't, it would be fucking too easy now, wouldn't it? That. So see, now the pin spins. Now what I did is I put a stopper in it, like a shank pin, and then I shaped it, pressed it, slammed it in, and then I tacked it down so this won't ever come out. So there you go, just like that. With prototyping, seeing some of how it works, what the functionality is, Mel's showing me I'm getting the range of motion, the full range of motion I wanted. I'm getting the leverage, the consistency, resistance I wanted. I'm getting everything I want, except one small detail is I'm not getting the starting position. If you let go, Bill, let go, babe, sorry. You see right here, this is not the starting position because the weight of the actual arm itself is now pulling against the load of the counterweight or the actual weight load here. So I want the starting position at the max range of motion straight out, as if you were doing like a full stretch on your hamstring in a seated position. So to do that, tomorrow I'm just gonna get some steel and I'm gonna add a 25-pound, 30-pound counterweight to the back, so then it continues the resistance, but because it would cantilever over against the arm, it'll not put any additional resistance in the second half of the range of motion, giving you all weight resistance on the plate. So by offsetting, as you can see here, the weight here, I can get positioning here for full resistance at a zero offset from essentially offsetting the weight here and 100% resistance on the load of the arm. So by doing that, tomorrow I should be able to achieve a full service. I'm gonna install some bumpers. I'm gonna clean it up, make sure it's safe and not sharp, and let everybody run it. So this is now the kick-ass glute machine by the War Machines and yours truly, this guy. So let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna doll it up. Come check this out. It'll be ready to fuck with tomorrow, I promise. This is going to change the world, just like the rest of them. So I'll see you guys in the warehouse. Get it.